In this video, I've got some proper nitro fuel for the Traxxas T-Maxx. Before we take it outside for a rip though, there's a couple parts I need to install on the engine before we take it outside for a rip. Hey everyone, welcome to Adventure RC1. My name's Greg, and this is a continuation of this series all about the T-Maxx and bringing it back to life. In the very first video, I did a reveal of 3 vehicles that I found as a package deal on Facebook Marketplace. If you want to check that out, I'll have a link to that video down in the description. Before we can go out for a rip, there are a couple parts that I've got for the engine that's going to make starting it and running it so much more enjoyable. Starting with getting rid of the Easy Start gearbox. This just isn't really working properly. Plus, the starter box isn't working correctly. There's something going on with the connections here or the connections on the truck, so I'm going to remove all of that. The other thing that I discovered on the engine is that the clutch is all worn out, so I've got a new pair of shoes and clutch spring that I'll be installing before we go outside to rip. The parts, nitro fuel, and the wash that I'm using in today's video I purchased from my local hobby store, Hobbytown USA. I'm not affiliated with them, but I do like to support my local hobby store. That way when I need parts, advice, or just want to hang out with some other RC people, I've got a place where I can go. Look, the screws for the recoil starter already have Loctite applied. And now for the clutch, I just have to get the C-clip off the front without launching it into low orbit. I can see that the clutch needs to be replaced because the clutch shoes are right down to the spring. If I take a look at the spring, I can see that the spring actually has some heat damage from rubbing up against the clutch bell. These pull right off and the new ones install right in there. The other key ingredient is making sure that my hands aren't full of oil. Oil and clutches just don't mix. A little tiny washer, and finally that little C-clip. Good as new. All that's left to do is to get the engine put back inside, the fuel lines hooked up, and because I removed the Easy Starter, I'm going to pull the wiring harness off the truck just to keep everything clean, and then I'm ready to fuel up and go outside and finally rip. I've got the fuel and now we're ready for some fun, and most of all, I don't have to deal with this Easy Starter system or this battery box anymore. You know, in the brochure, it looks pretty nice, but in the practicality, it just doesn't work all that well. And that is why I've got the Recoil Starter set up. Let's go outside and get ripping with this T-Maxx. Radio on, truck on, and fingers crossed. Wow, I forgot just how much these nitro-powered trucks are. From the smell of the exhaust to the nice mellow tones of that exhaust note, these things are a blast to drive. Now, many of you, including my wife, want to know just how much it's going to cost to get this back up and running, and that's why I've been keeping all of my parts tags with the prices on them to keep that running total. One thing I'm not going to include in that total are consumables like transmitter batteries and the fuel. That's just a given for being in this sport. Instead though, these parts, I'm going to tally these up and put them in the corner of the screen. While my local hobby store had most of the parts I needed, they didn't quite have all of them. Now, I'm also keeping in mind that this truck, this one right here, was first released way back in 2008 or 2009, and that hobby store still had parts that they were still currently stocking. I think that's absolutely fantastic. Once again, that's why I like supporting my local hobby store, because I can run over there and on the spot that day I can get parts for my RC vehicle so I can go out and keep on ripping with my trucks. One of those parts coming is going to be a much needed air filter for the engine. Of course, not only is it going to keep garbage from going down that carburetor, it's also a very important part of putting a proper tune on that engine. In one of the previous videos, I talked about when I bought all 3 vehicles off of Facebook Marketplace. The guy that I bought them from said that he still had more parts and he'd give me a call when he found them. And he found some parts. Most of them, honestly, were kind of junky and there's real no use for them. However, what he did have was another set of tires, and I thought they were tires this size, but they're actually tires that are this size. So what do you think? Should I change the gearing on the truck and fit these huge monster tires on this T-Maxx? Let me know down below by leaving a comment. Thanks for joining me in this video. I had a blast making this video. I mean, it's playing with RC trucks. It's kind of hard not to have fun making these videos for all of you. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, or ring that notification bell. Not only is it a great way to help this channel grow, it's an excellent way to connect video content like this with other great RC enthusiasts just like yourself. Well, until we meet again in the next video, keep on rolling.